So a couple weeks ago I decided to buy this Nintendo 64, and since then I've just been having so much fun. So the real reason that I bought this console is just to play Ocarina of Time. I've never played it before, and I really wanted to have that experience, and let me tell you, it didn't disappoint. I love the Kokiri dudes, and the satisfaction I get from solving puzzles, the enchanting environments, and the fact that Link can do a backflip. It truly is a magical game and an experience I don't think I'll ever forget. As the story progressed, I felt myself really attached to Link as a character, really caring about Hyrule's future, and invested in the story to the point that I would play for hours on end, totally locked in. I knew this game was going to be special the second I started playing, just from the title screen alone. I may have never played Ocarina of Time until now, but its soundtrack is so legendary and culturally impactful I've known about it for years. It was composed by the legendary Koji Kondo, and his instrument choices on the soundtrack mesh with the world so perfectly. The pizzicatos that he uses on Kokiri Forest give off such a joyful, childlike feeling. It sounds like mischief in musical form, and it's such a wonderful introduction for a new player stepping into the world. The soundtrack mainly consists of realistic sounding instruments like acoustic guitars, harps, pizzicatos, and a huge emphasis on woodwind instruments like violins, strings, and ocarinas obviously. And while a majority of the tracks are just instruments and no drums, there's also a couple that really nicely utilize percussion. Take the track Lost Woods for example. It has a running tambourine loop in the background that gives it a really sick groove. And it's such a simple pattern, but it adds so much to the feel of the song. Another really great example of percussion in Ocarina of Time is the song Zora's Domain. The melody has such a dreamy vibe in this one, and I really think that the laid-back percussion in the background does a really great job of adding to that. Probably the most famous track of them all though is that damn title screen song. I think everyone has heard this one before. It just sounds so nostalgic and wistful. It's warm and hopeful, but also has this underlying melancholy tone, which I think is pretty fitting for the game's themes. The melodies in some of these songs are going to be stuck in my head forever. Their simplicity only adds to the catchiness. Koji Kondo composed the original Super Mario theme. He's like that. He understands perfectly how to keep things simple without being boring, and how to write catchy melodies that stick with you. Ocarina of Time was such a wonderful game to play, and one that I don't think I'll ever forget, and the soundtrack was so incredible that it even inspired me to make my own Zelda-inspired song. So let's break this track down. Keeping Koji Kondo's sound selection in mind, I start off with this pizzicato. Very whimsical. So I start off with these really laid back chords, and really the only thing that changes throughout this chord progression is just the bass line. It just goes from F sharp to B and then to C sharp right here. And yeah, I just wanted the chords to be really simple to leave space for a bunch of counter melodies and percussion and all that stuff. Let's take a listen to how the chords sound. And then from there, I just wanted to keep filling it in, adding some bounce. So I added this harp from Xenology. It's called Aerial Harp. And we just keep it simple the whole time. The only thing that I add right here is this little strum. And here's how they sound together. Starting to come together a little bit. So then from there, I went ahead and picked out this acoustic bass from Xenology. I just wanted it to be simple and interesting, and I made sure to keep it as the same notes from the original bass line of the pizzicato. So from there, I went ahead and started adding percussion, and I picked out this rim sound and this shaker sound. So I'm going to play it with the metronome so you guys could hear it. And then I kept that shaker pattern real simple too. I just messed with the velocity a little bit. The last percussive element that I added was this snare thing. And it's just like a snare roll kinda, but I put the velocity super low so it kinda goes, you know? Before I show you guys what it really sounds like, I'm gonna show you what it would sound like if all the velocities weren't messed with at all. Not that good. But if we give the velocity this sort of downward slope, it sounds really nice. I really didn't add that many sounds to this beat, but I made sure that each sound like was very purposeful, if that makes sense. If you listen to a lot of Koji Kondo's soundtracks, he never has filler, you know? Like every single melodic aspect and like percussive element, they all serve a purpose, you know? A lot of his best songs in the Ocarina of Time soundtrack, it's like 6 instruments or 4 instruments, and I think that really speaks to like how making things simple is a lot better than overcomplicating it and like trying to be too fancy. But yeah, from there I went ahead and added this mallet sound from SRX World. Here's what it sounds like. So from there, I copied like the main pattern over, I put it up an octave, and then I shifted it slightly to the right, and I gave it like a cool stacking sound. I don't know how to describe it, but it sounded really cool. So from there, at the end of every 8 bars, I decided to add another string sound to keep things interesting, and I chose this preset from SRX Strings. It has like a really nice swelling sound to it, and I just did these really open-ended chords here. And just for some context, here's how it sounds with the pizzicato and the guitar playing at the same time. So to give it a bit of ear candy, I actually got this harp from Xenology called Aerial Harp, and it's just playing this sort of roll sound like a strum every 16 bars. And for this one, I literally just went like that on my piano. That's all I did. Feel like I'm about to have a flashback. And the last thing that I added on this track was this flute called Bottle Blow from Xenology, and I just put some reverb and chorus on it to make it sit real nice in the background. And this flute pattern kind of just came about from humming along to the track while I was making it. So yeah, let's take a listen. And I really like that flute pattern. I feel like it really fits the game's vibes. With that being said, let's take a listen to the full song. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's literally so fun making these, so I hope to do a bunch more soon. I got a bunch planned, but if you have any video games you want me to cover, be sure to leave them down in the comments. If you like this song, it's called Kokiri by Glum on all platforms, and you can listen to it right now wherever you want. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.